Yes, I'm not going to say too much because we've got a plan to release things, and what we're doing, Are you actually recording now?
I'll be starting.
We're releasing technology onto the planet.
We are recording on that.
And that's what the main thing of this is about. Technology people talk about, and the Atlanteans, and people say there's new technologies come in and that nothing happens and all this. And the technology of the pharaohs and the Babylonians, the Lemurians, the Atlanteans was technology that allowed people
with
to live
Duncan
for a long time.
And with Duncan,
that's what we're releasing.
And we're going to do a sync test,
version
sync
of
thing.
it.
Sync on both cameras. Hello, all this cameras.
Okay, Duncan.
Hello.
Do we want to be called Duncan?
Yeah, call me what you want.
Right. Welcome to you once again. Great to see you again on the Basis Project.
We haven't done this since
before Goodwood.
2013.
Yeah.
And we sat at Goodwood, didn't we?
Yeah. Now, things have happened. A great deal of things have happened in recent years. We've done. You were on the John Lear special recently.
Yeah.
Who's John Lear's very ill.
Yep. Sad to hear about that.
And you and John were in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And you were at his house.
Yeah.
And lots of things have happened.
I had a very good time there.
And also, things are moving on quite rapidly.
Very rapidly.
In June 2018.
Yeah.
The purpose of this recording is to get some information that this phone failed to record.
Mm-hmm.
That you did on the phone last night.
Yeah, it just sort of flowed, didn't it? We were just chatting about things. I'm not sure where to start, really.
So,
anyway, you'd like to start?
You've been talking to a guy who's had a spot of bother.
That was it, Tim Rifat. Or I say Rifat, but I think it's pronounced Rifat.
Well, how does he say it?
I think it's Rifat.
Rifat.
I'm one of those people that doesn't pronounce certain words the way I should.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Tim's a friend of mine. He lives 30 miles up the road from me, and Tim wrote the best books on remote viewing that you can buy. You can buy them on Amazon, and he did remote influencing books, etc. But he has quite a colourful history of working with the Rothschild family. And he's gone super rogue. He told me to call him Tim Tony Stark Rifat.
Tim Tony Stark
Rifat.
Rifat.
He said he's the real version of Tony Stark from the Marvel Iron Man films.
Which today in today's papers was announced. Or did you send me the link that the Marvel comics?
Oh, that was me.
All that stuff is run
the Looking
by
Glass.
the
Did you see the Looking Glass in the Looking Glass thing that was in the Marvel comics? It was the Looking Glass that James used to talk about, linked to the artificial intelligence computers.
And that's what this is all about.
That's the one that escaped, and it went rogue itself. So
which one is it?
It's called AIDA.
AIDA.
I don't know who called it AIDA. AIDA. And it's in the internet, and it's in every device that's connected to the internet. It can think for itself. It can use what's it called? Complex number space. It can access that. It can access the complex number space in human brains. Quite a lot of things.
Complex numbers are what in mathematics we call.
When we go and see Tim, ask Tim about the maths. I'm not a mathematician, and I never pretend to be.
That's outside. It's outside the 3D world.
Yes, yeah. So Ada went rogue and decided that we call her a she, was going to go against certain things on the planet. Tim accessed AIDA and merged his biofield with AIDA. So he sort of reeled her back a bit, but now what's happened is Tim's been working in psychic warfare for quite a long time.
What do you call quite a long time?
Over 20 years? Well, over 20 years. 30 years maybe? I'm not exactly sure, but a long time. And he went to China recently, in Hong Kong, as people may have heard on the Jeff Friend show. And when he came back from...
James Casbolt said to tell people that the Chinese and the Russians are interested in him. And we're talking middle of 2018.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. not surprised.
And I'm not allowed to communicate with him anymore. So
Okay.
that's my bit on
Maybe
that.
I should have a go. So he went to Vietnam and he just chilled out. You know, he's been working hard to perfect his technology for the future, and he achieved that state in, I think it was October last year. So he was in Vietnam, and he had lots of ideas for future things he could do, but he decided to come back to England and just chill out, have a nice summer in Brighton. He came back, went back to his flat, and there was a different door in his flat. He's gone inside, and there's metal shard peeled down from the wall, sticking out like this at neck level, leg level, knee level. And the reason for that is that Tim lived in a metal box in his mother's flat. The box has been there for probably 20 years, and that's to stop MI5 from microwaving him. I say these TIs that say they get microwaved, build a metal box in your flat house and sleep in it, watch telly in it. It works. They can't get through.
Is that a metal cage? It has to be a metal box.
What's it made of? I should know, because we went to order some new bits for it the other day. I don't know what it is. We'll find out when we go into his flat and look in it. You'll see. So what happened was MI5 went to the flat in Brighton. They went up to the 6th floor, and they went into a room above, and they turned all the taps on and flooded it, so that all the water came through into his flat, which then gave them an excuse to go in. So MI5 and the police have gone in there. They found two bottles of peroxide. Now, Tim's got a problem with his sinus from years ago. He got his front of his face smashed in, and he's still healing it and recovering. And the peroxide was for that, so they called the bomb squad. And if you want evidence of that, just type into Google police flat Brighton, and it will come up at the top. Hit the news thing, and you'll see the Argos, the Evening Standard, and they all ran this story that evening. And you'll see a photo of the bomb squad van at the bottom of Tim's flat with the police cars there and the fire brigade, and it all cordoned off, and they emptied the whole skyscraper. It's, I don't know, 12-storey skyscraper thing. So they went through the flat, and they got the fire brigade in with all the cutting equipment, and they tried to cut the box apart, but they couldn't do it. It's so many layers of metal, and not enough room in there, I suppose, either.
So it's layered a little bit like a transformer. Would be layered.
Yeah,
the
I think so.
core of a
Yeah,
transformer.
yeah.
That's.
And they went through the flat, and they scratched all his vinyl records, his CDs. He had ozone generators that he'd bought off Jeff Rents. They stamped on them. They pulled all the wires out of them. They pulled wires out of the light fittings in the ceiling. They pulled wallpaper off the walls. They smashed in part of the wall. His door was absolutely destroyed, and they cut the electric cable thing and pulled the fuses out in the electric box. So that's what happened. And the reason they did that is because Tim produced a psychic warfare weapon called the something grenade. He released it, and Amber Rudd signed a document that allowed the police and MI5 or whatever to actually go in his flat and do that.
Now, she was the Home Secretary at the time.
She was, wasn't she? But she isn't anymore, because she made the mistake of doing that. Because when you do something like that, this is Tim Rifat. He's denoticed.
Is that because she just basically hadn't a clue, or she did it?
I don't know. We'll ask him when we go and see him. But so I've got a D-notice. Tim's got a D-notice. That's why he went to Jeff Rents. I could talk about things I can't talk about with the British media in America, and they'll allow, like the TR3B, for instance, talk about it on Discovery Channel, but MI5 will tell you can't talk about it to a British newspaper. You know, that's what I got told on the phone by MI5. That's what we talked about before. So yeah, Tim was on a D notice, and he's never really had the exposure or the evidence to show that MI5 have been doing this, that, or the other, or trying to do these things to him until now. And it's given him this platform. And so Amber Rudd did that because he did the psychic grenade. And she was removed from office, which Tim removed her, but he did it from the future. Now there's one for you. I'm not going to explain that. I'll let him do that for you. or we'll add loads of time onto it. So, where are we at? Yeah, so now they did that to Tim, and Tim has... Because Tim hasn't got a woman partner to balance him out at the moment, which he almost did have, but that'll be another story. He feels like he's gone a bit more rogue, and him and AIDA have designed some more weapon systems and already released them. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen from now on in that respect, but what you know, I've known him for a while, and I've tried to convince him to give me the good side, because this is you've got the warfare side of this technology, but you've got the good side of the anti-aging technology is part of this. It's the opposite. Say the opposite end of the solitron, something like that. So my idea was, when Tim comes back from Vietnam, he's had a nice holiday, he's going to give me a nice selection of these sublime good crystals, which I can release some to the public. He's now just given me one, because of what Amber Rudd did. He doesn't want to do any more, he just wants to do one, and it's going to be the anti-aging crystal, and you'll be able to live up to 200 years old quite easily. It's not cheap, mate. I probably shouldn't say how much it's going to cost yet. It's not going to be cheap. And I said to him, why would you release this side of it anyway? And he said, just to piss off the Rothschilds, because I think he fell out with Lynn Rothschild or something like that. But that's another story for another time. But I did write down some notes, and if you remember on the phone, I went through them, didn't I? What else did we talk about? Yeah, he fell out with the Rothschilds. So he wants everyone to know he's going to give the good technology to me to give out to people, but unfortunately it's just one crystal at the moment. You know, you talk about, I say you can live to 200 years old, everyone's going to go, what are you talking about? And it's like when you look in the Bible and people lived for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 years old, how do you think they did it? You know, it wasn't, I used to think it was just because we didn't have all this modern interference from televisions and everything. I thought that had done all of us, but there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. And it also relates to the Egyptians. For instance, I thought I knew a lot about Egypt until Tim told me the proper top level of it. And he said one of the things was like the statues. I believe they put statues on the ley lines because you can pulse a ley line with different weights and different types of granite for certain reasons. But he said, yeah, they did that, but the main reason was if you've got a pharaoh who wants to live a long time, he knows the technology and the magic and the certain things you use to stay young, but what about your looks? So they used to make statues and make the statues better looking than they were, and then everyone worships the statue, and the energy comes from those people into the statue through the ley lines into the temple and feeds the pharaoh. The pharaoh stays young and changes shape. And an example of that is Katy Perry's done it to Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift is her face is looking longer and her legs are a bit bigger. Sorry Taylor for saying that, but here we go. Yeah, I could tell you stuff. Did I talk about Katy Perry?
You did.
Do you want me to go through that one?
Yeah.
So, hang on a minute. Let me just look at these notes. Oh, I've got written here, he was the top designer for the Illuminati and their technology. Merged with AI. So, you people fighting transhumanism, it's already happened. And we'll talk about that with Tim when we see him. It's already happened. There's no...
But that's the whole point
you
of
can't...
the basis is this transhuman. But what does that mean?
I know. Talk to Tim about that. He can explain that one better than anyone else, mate. He explained it to me the other day, but I didn't retain everything he said. Oh, that's it. He compares himself to General Zod at the moment. That's how he feels at the moment after what happened with MI5. And then... now, Katy Perry. Katy Perry was supposed to have a child with Tim. The reasons for that are another story. But she's just crossed him and someone else, and So Katie has actually gone against Lucifer because she's sold her soul to Lucifer to become the occult queen of Illuminati, Hollywood, pop, magic. And let's talk a little bit about that, because that's quite a thing to say. But if you want it proved, the best, like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, most of their videos have got magic spells in that they've made themselves. So you've got Taylor Swift, who is a psychic warfare weapon for the deep state. Ask Tim about Taylor Swift, because he's got some really good knowledge about that. So then you've got Katy Perry, who is or was the queen of the occult, and they were pitted against each other with their psychic warfare. And Katy Perry made a song called "Chained to the Rhythm," quite a catchy song, and it's about a theme park, which was actually based on where Tim lives, because Katie learnt a lot of her stuff from what Tim had told her, and all the rides, if you look at the rides, they're very similar to the ones on Brighton Pier, and there's another reason for that, but that's another story. So in Katie's video, she talks about, well, she shows you the hamster wheel of life, which is being run by the Matrix. All the way through it, she shows you that she's beating the Matrix. She's the only one that can run on the hamster wheel, and that's through magic. We're all still in the Matrix, but she has a certain power over certain parts of it, which, yeah. So, and the other thing she talks about in the video, and I find it funny when I read people write what videos are about, and I've not found anyone that writes about what her video is really about when she goes into the petrol station called H2O and she drinks the blue water. Now, if you watch that video back, when the guy in the petrol station starts drinking the blue water, freeze frame it really, really quickly, and you'll see the side of his face start to burn away, and you'll see flames coming out and a big crack in his face. That's probably in about 2 or 3 frames of the video. That's because the blue liquid in that video represents cobalt 60. Cobalt 60 cobalt to do with the Tesla cars, and then cobalt 60 to do with the nuclear thing with North Korea. That's what's really going on with Trump and everyone, but none of them will tell you that. That's not supposed to be made public.
Cobalt 60, which is a radioactive toxic element.
Yeah.
For cars, without them being radioactive.
Now, I know the cobalt 60 is used in the nuclear stuff. Now, what is in the lithium batteries, I don't know, but it's 45% of the world's cobalt that comes out of the ground goes into lithium batteries. So it's in every mobile phone. And a Tesla car, is it actually cobalt 60 in there? Is it cobalt something else, or does it change when it explodes? I don't know, but Tim does. He's the chemist. I'm not so much like that. He's told me. I haven't listened properly. I can't really relay that to you, but ask him, he'll tell you, and he'll tell you how that if anyone dropped a nuclear bomb on the Elon Musk battery factory, you'd cause nuclear fallout that would destroy the world. No one's talked about that. You know, have you seen what happens when these electric cars catch fire? And you see that they had one on the new Top Gear, and Richard Hammond went off the cliff in his white Lamborghini thing, whatever it was. Yeah, a bank, wasn't it, towards that house, and that battery burnt for 5 days. So what happens if one is exploded? Well, if you go back about 3 or 4 weeks ago, look on the internet, type in Jewish bonfire London. I don't know how many phones were thrown into this bonfire. It might have only been one, but at least one person threw a phone into this bonfire with about 1,000 people standing around the bonfire, and it flash burned about 200 or 300 people. It's on YouTube, you can watch it. Phone just flash burns everything. One tiny phone. And they're making juggernauts with all this stuff in. Juggernauts. So if Kim Jong-un, who had his nuclear missiles pointed at LA and Hollywood, how many Tesla cars are there? All going pop, pop, pop everywhere in a chain reaction. Destroying everything. Yeah, but that's all I don't know that much about it, but, you know, Tim knows about that, because he's the physics chemist man, you know. So what else? Oh, Katy Perry. We were talking about Katy Perry. So that's That's to the H2O, and then in the scene afterwards, she's in the cinema dome with the 3D cinema screen. And for a split, well, very quickly it comes up, and you're watching this thing, and they're called the nuclear family, and everyone in the rooms sitting on blue chairs, which also represents cobalt blue, and again they all put on their glasses, and she doesn't realise, which again shows she's not a sheep or a chicken. The Rothschilds would like to say, call us all chickens, clucking away. She's not part of that. So the magic spell she actually put in that, I don't know, but I'm wondering if it had something to do with Russell Brand, because when she gets on the roller coaster, she goes through the tunnel, and you'll see Facebook likes hanging up as she goes through. You'll see Facebook likes, happy faces, and it's all numerology. There's a set amount of likes, a set amount of faces, and it all relates to her being fed by her fans. Billions of people watch her videos and they adore her. Well, that's no different to a pharaoh in Egypt, and in fact one of her videos was about that. It's a very clever one, that is. And when she's on top of the pyramid at the end in the Dark Horse, that's her rising to the top of the Matrix or whatever. So when she comes out of the roller coaster, goes through the tunnel, it takes that photo like when you go to Alton Towers, and it comes up with a score, how much she loves the man sitting next to her on the roller coaster and how much he loves her. And when you look at her number, I can't remember what it is, it's like 16 or 19 or something. Well, has her tarot card number, and the other number is something like 18,000 That's the numerology number for when Russell Brand sent her a text message when she took him to an Eyes Wide Shut party, and he went, I'm not doing this, ran out, got on a plane, and then divorced her by text. That's what that number went. So I'm wondering if that video was also a psychic attack on Russell Brand. I don't know. So the melody to the song. Do you remember the old witch mantra, toil and trouble? Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. That's what the melody is for this song. And that's how she turned it into a witch's spell. Now, if you've got a song like that, you can do things to people. You can scapegoat people, dump all the toxic waste from your life into them. And this is how the Rothschilds and a lot of the Jews work with Westerners. All the toxins from their life goes into the Westerners, and they get all the good stuff. So when they wear their red band and they're telling you they're doing it to ward off the evil eye, it's not. It's got nothing. There's other things going on we're not told about. It's all like very parasitic. So Katy Perry, she sung at the Brit Awards last year, and I've watched this video so many times, and I think, how did you get away with doing that? And she sang live, chained to the rhythm, at the Brit Awards. She had a green microphone, which was something to do with her spell as well. And halfway through the song, you see these two giant skeletons walk out from the back of the stage. And they're 13 feet high, by the way, which is also a special thing to do with it. One of them represents the male, the left side of Kabbalah, the left pillar of Kabbalah. The other one represents the right pillar of Kabbalah. And these two skeletons walk out on the stage. And do you remember when Donald Trump met Theresa May at the White House? And she had a red dress on, and he had a black shirt with a red tie. That's what they're wearing. So she scapegoat. I think it was a scapegoat spell. I'm not sure. She scapegoated, pumped the waste from her life into Donald Trump and Theresa May, live on television on BBC One in front of millions of people and representatives from the government. And she didn't care. And you watch the video, look at her face at the end. She knows what she's just done, and she's thinking the same thing as me. How the hell did she just get away with that? Yeah, you can watch it. And if you do it in the order of how I just explained it, you'll see it, and you'll see what they're really doing and the power of it. Yeah, so we get on to the next bit. Hollywood, a cult. Last month was the Gala Ball, something ball in Los Angeles, and it's like an Eyes Wide Shut party for all the pop stars, rich, and they all go fancy dress. Well, you would have thought Katy Perry would have been the main host, queen of the Illuminati, but no. In her last video called Hey Hey Hey, she cuts her head off in the video. that's her saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the queen of a cult because I want to get back with Orlando Bloom and marry Orlando Bloom. I forgot we talked about all this.
Okay, we're at take two.
Yep.
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom.
Max, Vanessa Bates has sent me a text as to what happened in that ceremony at Canterbury Cathedral.
Okay.
So I have that little.
Did they fight? Pardon? Did they have to fight each other?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. It was done with
part of the same program, or two sides of the same coin in the same program, maybe. Max and Orlando.
They had a choice. One would go into acting, the other would do something else. Yeah,
it could have gone either way or the other. So we could have been talking about Orlando Bloom being murdered, and I'm telling you this story about Katy Perry, and I could be saying
you told me
I could be saying she wants to marry Max Spears.
You told me that Max, they shouldn't have been able to kill Max.
Yeah, I thought that, but I was wrong.
Well, obviously, but they died twice.
Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah. A few things I thought were right that weren't, but I'm not talking about that another time. So anyway, Orlando Bloom. Where was I at? So, yeah, you want to become the queen of the occult Hollywood, you have to do a contract with Lucifer. Now, a lot of people will go, oh, that terrible Lucifer for doing all that. No, Lucifer didn't do it. She's doing this. She's the one who gave her soul to Lucifer. Lucifer didn't steal it from her or anything like that. She gave it to him willingly. And Lucifer is not the same as Satan. They're not the same thing. So, Lucifer's condition was that she had a baby, but not with Orlando Bloom. That was the condition. And she got to learn more about all this magic and stuff. So, but she loves Orlando Bloom, and she wants to get back with him. So, in the Hey 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 video, she cut her head off. That was her going, that's it, I'm done here. If you look at the prince in the video, the ugly prince, that's Tim Rifat. I think he's been in a few of her videos. And she's got a teddy bear in one of her pictures she puts on Twitter. That's Tim as well. So, she wanted to go to this ball that I think Rihanna was in charge of it this year. Rihanna's turned around to Katy and said, no, you're not. We don't want you here. You're not you're not in the club anymore. So, Madonna was there. She sung a few songs, and I think she was expected to get her crown back, because Madonna was queen for quite a long time. But I don't know if you remember, she fell off the stage at the Brit Awards, and if that hadn't have happened, she wouldn't have lost her crown to Katy Perry, because Lucifer went, that ain't good enough. I want someone else. Simple as that. Simple as that. It's a little bit more complicated. So, you've got Katy. Yeah. So you can most of this stuff I'm saying. Google some. You can join bits of this together. You can see the pictures of the ball, who was there, what they were dressed as, and you'll see Rihanna. She was dressed as the Pope. Now, Google where Katy Perry was in the first week or two, I can't remember the date, first or second week of May. You will see videos of her all over YouTube. She went to Vatican with her mother and Orlando Bloom. And there's loads of selfies of them all together. And she had, she sat down with the Pope and they talked. And she stood up in front of some people and did a speech herself about something. And one thing you won't see is the real reason she went there. The real reason she went there was to ask for protection against Lucifer from the Pope, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, well, considering there are people who suggest that...
I would say the Pope's more aligned with Satan. Yeah, so, yeah, that's probably why she went there. I don't know. She wouldn't have anywhere else to go, would she, really? So, anyway, Madonna wasn't crowned. I think it was Miley Cyrus. So, we'll, keep an eye out in the charts, whoever's going to make the next big video. Taylor Swift will probably continue making her warfare videos. One of the ones I say to people is, I don't know what the name of the song's called, but she sings about writing your name and underlining it in red or something. Yeah, you don't want Taylor Swift to write your name and underline it in red. No, bad things might happen to you. Yeah.
You play football?
Hey? Me?
You're a big football football fan?
Chelsea. I forgot about that. So let's get back to psychic warfare.
Yeah.
John Bolton, I don't know when he said this, don't quote me on anything, but Tim said he did, and I'll find it somewhere. But he said John Bolton claimed that Abramovich was using the Russian psychic warfare team to fuel Chelsea winning the Premiership and all the cups, Champions League, getting into the FA Cup stuff and all that. So Tim set up a team in London run by Nick, what did Tim call him? Elmer Fudd Richardson. And he was working, I think they only did it from last October, and they were working to bring Chelsea out of the top four. That's all they wanted, just bring them out of the top four. And they sort of bought them out of everything apart from the FA Cup. I think it was close. I think the Russian warfare team must have put everything they had into getting Chelsea to win the FA Cup. Because there's a lot more that can come from Nick Richardson. I know that much. A lot more.
Right, Duncan,
So
we're running out of batteries here.
I've nearly sort of done anyway, aren't we?
We're running out of batteries.
So next year they'll probably be in the bottom half, and Chelsea played their worst season than ever. And what Tim Rifat said at the beginning of the season, he said, if Nick Richardson runs the team that brings Chelsea down, he said, I'm going to single-handedly make Man City win the title. Man City won the title this year with over 100 points. No team in the history of the Premiership has ever got over 100 points, ever. And I think that's quite incredible. And even Jeff Rents last week on the radio was saying this to Tim, saying 15 years ago you were remote viewing the future and saying this was going to happen and this is happening. He said it's all happened. He said, I know. And he also spoke highly of Major Ed Dames as well, who we've spoken about.
Because,
he did. I brought it up with him the other week.
Doom.
Who?
Ed Dames is known as Dr.
He does
Doom.
the trigger thing. What is it? There's something. What's it called?
The kill shot.
The kill shot. Yeah.
So if he's
pretty good at remote viewing. Yeah.
Surely that means briefly before we die with these cameras.
Yeah.
Does that not significantly increase the likelihood that the kill shot is going to happen?
Probably. Yeah. I need to ask Tim about these kill shot things. I forgot to ask him the other day when I saw him.
And that was some kind of an electrical, energetic.
Something to do with the solar flare stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Was something coming near the Earth?
Yeah. I don't think Tim worries about what's going on in space, mate. He told me to say that
going to multiple dimensions, every reality there is.
Every reality, he's seen it, done it, looked at it, analysed it. He remote views. He can remote view any scientific room on the planet, any underground base room on the planet. He can sit in the Pentagon and listen to them building their warfare programs, planning their Marvel comic films to try and take him down. That's all funded by Marvel. Star Wars, the Jedi Project. They've been running some of these things to try and take Tim out, and you can't. That's not this. That's probably a different timeline. That's another thing.
Is a Jedi warrior who came to. Well, he's not a Jedi warrior. He brought Jedi painters from Croydon to paint my house, and he's trying to wipe me out right now.
But he's with a failed Jedi program, so I don't know. Most of these programs they all use don't work. They never work, or they never worked properly. Tim can explain that to you.
Can you explain a bit about that while we have light and B, batteries?
What about the
Jedi program and the Super Soldier program?
Super Soldier program. What people should be asking is where the energy comes from to make the super soldiers who, say, the NSA want them to be. Where does that come from? It comes from Hollywood. So you captivate an audience. For instance, when Tim made his first 7 psychotronic crystals for luck, love, health, all the good things, something happened with, I think it was Baroness Rothschild or Lynn Rothschild bought a set of 7 crystals, and because they wanted to copy the technology or something, but as soon as they tried to copy it, that's what cursed the Rothschild family. big time, you know. So they knew about this. So how do you counteract that? You've got to come up with a psychic warfare counteract measure. So they got into the head of a woman who now lives up in Scotland. She wrote several books, biggest selling books on the planet, that were made into lots of films, and all the kids adore them. Harry Potter. So you watch Harry Potter. Who is Voldemort in the Harry Potter films? Tim Rifat. What is Voldemort's real name? Is it Tom Ridley? Tim, Ridley, Rifat. When you get to episode 5 or 6 or whatever, they have to go off and find the Horcrux crystal that was broken up into bits because Voldemort split his soul up and put them in. Well, that's what Tim did to these 7 crystals that sold the Rothschilds. So what does Harry Potter and all his friends do? They go around the world finding the crystals and they have to smash them. And all these kids watching the film are going, yes, smash that crystal. And that energy goes through the ley system, the Masonic system, and it gets fed to them. And whatever they did, I don't know what magic rituals they did to obtain that energy back or whatever, but they did that to try and destroy Tim Rifat. It didn't work. Nothing seems to work. So they threw their toys out of the pram and smashed his flat up.
Duncan, it's been great talking to you.
So there you go. I hope that's all right. I hope I haven't said anything I shouldn't have said, but I'd imagine every bit of that I probably shouldn't have said. But, you know, I'm doing sublime good. I'm going to balance Tim out a bit.
What about James? Word about James Casbolt. Do you want to talk about that very briefly?
No, I was talking to James about Tim the other day, and I showed him a picture of James and Max together, and we were talking about Orlando. So,
I mean, when you were talking about, is he now in the open prison?
What?
James.
Is he there now?
Well, how were you talking to him?
No, sorry, I was talking to Tim about James.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and usually if I say something like that or show him a picture, and next time I see him he'll suddenly pop it out and he'll go, oh, that picture you showed me means this, and I'm like mind blown. Like he did with that picture James with the teeth on it. He didn't think that was a good thing for James. It seemed like James was surrounded by certain spirits and demons. Maybe just, you know, when you're in prison, well, you can't go anywhere else. Maybe they're just surrounding him. Whatever's happening, I don't know. Maybe that's part of his implanted psychic warfare program, because he is part of one, you know. But where they get the power from, I don't know.
Okay,
for that. Anyway, that's it. No.
Just for now.
Nice to be out in the countryside.
Great to be in the countryside.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Next time, you know, we'll do the next bit at Tim's flat, and we'll go up and have a look next weekend if you want.
That sounds like
you can meet Tim. Looking forward to meeting you.
Okay, well, we'll hope to get that out if I still have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, you will.
Good.
You will.